You know that arm tattoo that 500,000 guys have? And it's like a snake wrapping around their arm diagonally. Not only is it the worst medium-priced tattoo that I can think of, it's also usually an indicator that that guy is a POS, I've noticed. Sorry, good guys caught in the crossfire. I'm speaking on the generalization. They should advertise tattoos as NFTs for your body. That might help. I saw a guy sign waving for a tattoo shop that just opened up the other day. Oh, he gets pelted with drinks. Come deface your body permanently. Freaks. Every time I get really depressed, I go back and I watch a bunch of Homestar Runner. And it's good to see that they're still kicking. Brothers Chap, I'm still around. It seems to be that there's a bit of a Kiwi Farms renaissance going on right now. That is because Null has been dutiful and diligent in both his working and spiritual life recently. God rewards consistency. And I think him doing so well on Lent is partially why this happened, and I'm happy for everybody. One thing though, I do worry that he might be, and I've worried about this for a long time. I remember one time he came into chat on an alt. It was an alt with a white question mark on a black background, and I immediately noticed his mannerisms when he was speaking candidly. And he said this specific talking point that he would use on his next podcast episode is that Americans are always like, I'm 1/5 this and 1/5 that and 1/5 this and 1/5 that and 1/5 that. And I'm just like, wait a minute, that's not possible. Based on how the chart breaks down, you can't be like 5 equal parts of anything. I sure hope nobody is abusing amphetamines in this chat. I legitimately said that. And then that particular account went away, and then that same exact point was used on his podcast in a very succinct and exact way, aligning with the same mannerisms. So I was just like, I see. He does alt on his own website sometimes. I just really hope he's not abusing amphetamines, like genuinely. As I've described before, as you might know, methamphetamine and amphetamine have 1,400 and 1,100 respective dopamine pushes. They're very, 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 very bad for you in like the medium term. Like the short term is just like, yeah, you get these waves that you can utilize because you might be depressed, you might have let your thoughts lull you into idleness and inaction. But the long-term consequence is just complete and utter obliteration of your natural senses in your body. And the medium term is paranoia, anger, and just straight up making the wrong decisions. Which leads to, a steady decline over time. I really, really, really hope, because he said multiple times he doesn't see anything wrong with meth. If you're like depressed and about to kill yourself, you should do meth instead, which is very bad advice. Like, I really, really hope that's not the case. That would be incredibly disappointing. It's not worth it. It's a very hard thing to get off. Anyways, it makes my heart very warm when I see people walking around the neighborhood safely again, which is something we lost for about 2 years in between 2021 and 2022. But I haven't once told a soul that I fought for them. That is for the best, and it was not me but Christ that lives in me. Not by my hand, but by the hand of the Almighty is it done. I keep my head down, and I keep my mind contemplative, my body meditative, and my soul elative. This is gonna sound racist, but legitimately the only thing that I can think of that black people do exclusively of their own volition that's horrific and terrible is dog breeding. Dangerous pit bulls and abomination bulldogs, and you see it a lot. And it's a very disappointing thing. It's a very destructive thing. It's the one thing that I can see. This didn't come from any other culture. From the seams of it, it was essentially a British thing to breed dogs for fighting for a long period of time. But now it's a very, very American thing. And African American communities have picked this up independently. Like, yes, they're paid, but I don't see at any time where this was introduced into the cultures of Black America. Unlike pimp culture. Pimp culture comes from Zionists and sex traffickers. Zionist sex and drug traffickers, excuse me. But hitting your kid does not come from Zionism. That is something that also happens exclusively on its own in various communities that tend to have these trauma cycles. You get like early brain damage, detectable on a CTE scan, and then you're more likely to make these sort of rash, violent decisions that involves trauma cycles and hitting your kid because it's been normalized to you. That is something always to avoid. The smartest people I know, even if they have poor emotions, poor emotional control, were not hit as children. And then you can gain the emotional control through contemplative meditative action over a period of time. And it helps a lot not to be all sloshy brained about it. That's something that alcoholism causes, the same exact sort of damage. It's wild that people talk about brain damage while completely over about drugs and brain damage while completely ignoring alcohol. Alcohol. I assume is about 5 to 10 times worse for your brain than weed, and we all can see what weed does to people. Alcohol is significantly worse, so keep that in mind. Also, some of the smartest people that I know don't drink, and if they do, they drink sparingly. I certainly feel dumber when I'm drinking. I hate The Undertaker. Wrestling is at its best when it's funny and goofy, not Linkin Park Avi like edgelord, look at me, I'm the coolest sort of behavior and styling. That's lame because everybody knows it's fake. So everybody knows it's fake, including the fans, especially the ones that go see it in person. It's about the showmanship. It's not about being an edgy boy and dominating the people in the ring that are like your coworkers at the end of the day. I'm pretty sure Undertaker killed a guy, put him in a coffin, and the coffin like broke halfway through and like pierced him and he bled out. Don't like that guy. Also, he sold an NFT. What a lame-o. Lame-o. It really is wild that after saying they don't have the authority to execute anyone, the Jews killed everyone in an entire village, pissing Hadrian off big time and getting ancient Israel destroyed. Pushed a apostle off a temple, defiling the temple. It's terrible things that they did. Well, because that feeling of doing something wrong, it festers in you. Even now, the evil seed of what you've done germinates within you. And it do. And 70 AD rolls around. Boop. Sucks, because, there are innocent people that got swept up in that because of the decisions of a few powerful dudes, guy bros, drinking wine at the temple and getting free food. Anyways, I don't want to be anybody's cool guy internet bro. I don't want to create parasocial bonds. I want to be informative and to a lesser extent funny. That's my goal here. And to not get banned and to also, that's my secondary goal. My secondary goal is to also get banned from Israel, which I might already be. Because the people on Kiwi Farms already reported me to the ADL, and they told me so in DMs. That's 1 million plus aura. getting banned from Israel. Could you imagine being the guy that's like, oh no, I accurately quoted history. Now I'll never be able to go to the Tel Aviv Coliseum and you see a Palestinian child get mauled to death by a convicted sex offender they flew in from Thailand on Netanyahu's presidential jet. Oh. Could you imagine being that guy? Oh. A lot of those guys are like, yeah, I'm an American, and I'm also a Zionist. You don't like it? Screw you. Those guys are also usually the loud truck, annoying rice rocket guys. Oh, man. Some guy online with the username Patriot Party 69 told him, you really want to trigger the liberals? Destroy everything so that you can get your hands on and go into debt. And they bought it, and they swallowed that worm and got pulled on up to the surface. Can't breathe there. Construction workers are so funny these days because they'll take the stupidest jobs and be like, I got a family to feed. And it's just them, their adult son, their poorly trained dog, and their 6-lifted truck that have payment plans. And don't get it twisted. I respect the hell out of people that make cool, long-lasting things. That's not Tony or Jimmy who know how to grade a lot with a dozer and turn it into a desert before putting it up on the market. Okay? Yeah, my job's sitting on a red-hot spike. It pays good. The only thing with dependable income is the spike. But hey, I make other people sit on the red-hot spikes too. I'm a small business owner. I'm a job creator. I'll never be as funny as Sam Hyde, and that's okay. I'll never be as funny as Brent Daniel, and that's okay. Or as intelligent as dedicated historians, but I'm gonna put my whole soul in it, and that's enough for me. I'll always be better than some silly Billy keeping empty liquor bottles as trophies, though. Look, check it out. Girls are gonna be so impressed when they see how much tequila I can drink. Real alcoholic hours. My actual strength is to notice deep connections in data sets and retain info that I'm passionate about. It's a lot of other people's strengths, too. And I feel like that can be teased out of people as well. So I try to help people make wider connections, and that's exactly where I become entertaining. Like, there are people that are far more entertaining than me that get less views on their YouTube videos, and I am very grateful for the following that I have, and I hope that people can learn from the things that I say. I really do, genuinely. That's my goal here. Conor McGregor, though he is a proud part of modern Irish history in a way, is unfortunately plugged deep into the black market forces that wish to destroy Ireland for consistently standing against Israeli terrorism. UFC managers and globalist Saudi sheiks are one and the same. And don't go, but those are two different countries. Muslims and Jews hate each other. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. Saudi Arabia is part of Greater Israel. And the Saudis consider Israel to be part of their greater projects as well. They're very good friends, and they have very similar mindsets. At least the ones that, like, destroyed 90% of their populations and drove people out of their homes so that they could make these gigantic, gaudy, stupid skyscrapers that sometimes don't even have working plumbing. It's extremely concerning for Conor. And after writing that last note, I found evidence of him simping hard for Israel. Trust your instincts, pals. Trust your instincts. That's not gonna do well for him in the polls. But, tell you one thing, he's gonna get millions of dollars from Elon Musk. That's for damn sure. Seems like the current politically correct talking point is to talk about mass immigration. And that's fascinating to think about based on who controls a lot of the speech laws these days and who's genuinely responsible for a lot of this mass immigration. Vetted talking point for some, the same as DeSantis was a vetted governor to not lock down for COVID. It's a fascinating issue, and it's interestingly juxtaposed to wrestling because there are foils and heroes in wrestling. You know, a lot of the Democrats are content to be foils. You know? We shouldn't have anti-First Amendment corporate practices and right-to-work laws that enable it in the first place. The only issue is who's really responsible. Why would people have their jobs touched to begin with? I'm glad I'm not a partisan cuck. If there was somebody who ran in the Democratic or Republican Party, registered with the name Hitler Rapist Connie Lover 1488 on the ballot, and announced their candidacy with a VTuber avatar, there would be partisans screaming, if you don't support them, you should get out of the country. I'd also like to apologize on behalf of all Southern Celts for Asmongold. Sorry, world, he's one of ours. Our deepest, most heartfelt apologies. Asmongoloid, the Warcraft Dawn. Did you know he worked for the IRS for 2 years? That blew my mind when I learned that, but it's not too surprising in the grand scheme of things. It's probably where he got his connections. All right, y'all. Hope everyone has a good... Hope everybody's enjoying their Holy Weekend. Have a good Holy Saturday. And has a wonderful Easter tomorrow. I might stream, I might not. We'll see how it goes. All right, y'all. Cheers.